guys, so I'm going to do a tag video today. I've been tagged in like 6 different videos over the past couple of months, and I have not had time to do any tags because I've been so busy freaking reading and doing reviews and other things with my life. Anyway, I'm going to try to catch up on those soon, so I'm going to go ahead and do one right now. So this is the first and last tag. I was tagged by Marlene over at In Which Marlene Reads Books. I will put a link down to her video in the description. Let's just go ahead and get started. First question is, what is the first video you posted and what is the last video you posted? The first video I posted was a book haul back in like last October, I believe, and I had just been to a used bookstore and I was like, let's do this video thing because it sounds like fun and I might as well. And it was terrible, and I was in my room and I didn't have a backdrop or any place to put my camera, so I just used like my window shelf thing, and I was like behind a door. It was bad. Don't go look at it. It's terrible. Like my first 4 videos or so, just ignore those. Yeah, the last video I posted, I have no idea because I don't know when I'm going to be posting this in relation to my other videos, so it might be probably a review of something. I'm not sure what though. Maybe Between Shades of Grey. I don't know. We'll find out once I post this, I guess. I'll put a little thing that's like, hey, this is actually the answer down in the annotations. Next question is, who was the first booktuber you watched and who was the last booktuber you watched and which video was it? The first booktuber I ever watched was Cass J. Tuck, and it was her video about Legend by Marie Lu. I think actually Marie Lu linked it on her Facebook page, and I was like, this looks cool, so I clicked on it and I was like, wow, that's awesome, I should watch all of these. So I did that for like several days, and then my life was over and I started doing this. The last booktuber I watched, the last booktuber I watched was Marlene, and it was the first and last tag because I had to watch it again to get all the questions. What is the first book you remember buying and what is the last book you remember buying? The first book I remember buying was a biography of Henry VIII. I was like 9 years old and I picked up this giant ass book and I was like, Mommy, I want this. And she was like, are you sure? So I went ahead and bought it, and then I read it, and then my life was kind of ruined from then on. The last book I remember buying was actually today. I bought Origin by Jessica Cowrie, I guess. I was at a library book sale and it was like $4 and it's brand new, so I was like, why not? What was the first novel you remember reading all by yourself and was the last novel you read? The first novel I remember reading all by myself was probably Harry Potter. I don't know, how are we defining novel? I mean, technically it was like the Magic Treehouse books or something, but those are like really middle grade. Those aren't even middle grade. Those are like below middle grade. Those are like elementary grade. I don't even know. Yeah, I guess, I'd say Harry Potter probably just because that seems accurate. And I was probably in like 2nd grade or something when I read that. So yeah, we'll go with that. Then the last novel that I just read would be, I guess, Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. Next question is, what was the first dystopian novel you've ever read and what was the last dystopian novel you read? The first one I ever read was Legend by Marie Lu. That's the book that kind of made me want to read YA in the first place. And the last dystopian book I read was Starters by Alyssa Price, I guess. Yeah, unless we're counting Unravel Me. I don't know. Is that really dystopian? I feel like that's not dystopian so much as like almost exactly like X-Men. Yeah. We're gonna go with Starters. That sounds more dystopian. What was the first paranormal romance you ever read? What was the last paranormal romance you ever read? The first paranormal romance I ever read was Twilight, and I hated it. So I read that in high school. I read it because everyone else was reading it, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Also, I was writing a scathing review of it in my school's newspaper, and I felt like I should probably read it before I wrote that review. I did not enjoy it at all, and I didn't ever want to read YA again after that. The last paranormal romance I read, yeah, so I kind of make it a point not to read paranormal romance, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because I tend to just shy away from it. Usually, like, the covers don't really interest me, or the stories themselves are not that cool, and I don't really know what defines a paranormal romance. Is that, like, vampires and werewolves only, or is that, like, fairies, or is it fantasy? Paranormal romance is such a weird genre to me, I'm just not really sure. I guess the last paranormal romance I read was The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. I guess, if that's called paranormal romance. I'm gonna go with it because that seems kind of what it was like. What was the first book that made you cry, and what was the last book that made you cry? You know what? The first book to make me cry was definitely one of Tamora Pierce's books. I don't know which one. I don't remember. But I'm sure I cried at those at one point, and I love those books so much. But yeah, no, it's either those or like Hell's Moving Castle or something. one of the books that I read in middle school, I guess. The last book to make me cry was Between Shades of Grey by Louis Petty's. That book is really sad and really amazing. What was the first entire series that you completed, and what was the last entire series you completed? The first entire series that I completed was definitely the Alana series. Those are the first books of Tamora Pierce. Alana, The First Adventure, and then In the Hand of the Goddess, I think the second one. Yeah, that was probably the first series I ever completed. Those books were basically my life. I started reading them in, I think, 5th grade, and then 5th grade through 7th grade, my friends and I assigned all of us, like, different characters. I was Dane, and my best friend was Fayette from one of those, and we had a girl who was Alana, and it was this, like, epic thing. We would write letters back and forth, and oh my gosh, I don't believe that we actually got anything done in middle school because we were always talking about this. We had, like, the Tortel Times newspaper that we'd put out monthly. It was like the dumbest, most amazing thing we ever did. No, that's a lie. We did way dumber things. And the last series that I completed was the Hex Hall series. Duh. Like, that's the only series I completed this year. What was the first book you couldn't push yourself to finish, and what was the last book you couldn't push yourself to finish? I do not remember what the first book I couldn't push myself to finish was. You know what? I do remember. It was one of the, like, I don't know if any of you guys remember, like, the American Diaries of, like, Diary of a Young Girl, or Diaries of, like, people. I don't know what to call them, but they had, like, cool little bookmarks in them. And I was reading one about Elizabeth I, and I was obsessed with Henry VIII and everything to do with the Tudors. I mean, like, obsessed. I'm still obsessed. It's ridiculous. But I was reading this book, and it was just bad. Like, I couldn't get through, like, the first couple of pages. And I remember I was, like, really pretentious in elementary school, and I would, like, sit down to read a book, and I was like, I will finish this book, and everyone will see me finish this book, and they will see me reading all the time on the playground during recess, instead of doing, like, monkey bars and, tetherball and being all sporty. I'm gonna read. So I'd read that book, and I swear to God, it took me, like, 6 months to get past, like, the second page, because it was so freaking boring. The last book that I could not push myself to finish, you're all gonna hurt me for this, The Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah. I got halfway through it and I was like, nope, can't do it. But I will try again, I promise. Promise. And the last question, who is the first person you will tag and who is the last person you will tag? I think most people have done this, so I tried to find people who hadn't, and if you have done this, I'm super sorry. So the first person I'm going to tag is Brysonandbooks, and the last person I'm going to tag is Kitkatscanread. And if you've already done this tag, I'm really sorry, but I tried. I looked through your videos, I couldn't find it, so yeah. Anyway, and if you haven't done this tag already, go do it, because, like, everyone and their dog has done this tag. So if you're one of the people who hasn't done it yet or hasn't been tagged yet, this is me tagging you, like, for reals. I know a lot of people do that. They're like, I tag everyone, and then everyone's like, I'm not gonna do it because I wasn't directly tagged. But, like, I really mean it. Like, if you haven't done this tag and you want to, I really want you to also, so you should do it and, like, leave it as a video response so I can go watch it. And if I'm not following you or, like, subscribed to you, I want to be, so you should definitely leave it as a video response so that I can check out your other videos and so on and so forth. Anyway, hope you all have a wonderfully beautiful sunshiny day. That sounded really angry, but and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.